Good evening and welcome to another video on All How They Ale. Tonight we are doing two beers in one video. These are two I've not tried before, but we're going to throw them in together side by side in Mortal Kombat. Which two beers is it? It's these two. It is Moretti Zero and Stella Zero. Or Zero, alcohol free should I say. And why am I doing these? Well, because I can really. It's New Year's Day and we're going to start the year with a bit of a bang. With no bang, as it happens. There's no alcohol, really. They are both completely 0.0% ABV. And we're just going to compare the two, much like I do on all my comparison videos, and see which one is the best. Now, bearing in mind, we are trying these for the first time today. So we're still going to do side-by-side scoring, but we're going to give them the usual scoring as well. So before we get on to the video, we're going to hit the Untapped Aid Memoir up for a little bit of information on the two. So out of the two beers, Moretti has had more check-ins. It's had 4,433 compared to the 2,057 on the Stella. The scores we will visit in a minute. So finally, for the first time ever, I actually get to use a Stella glass. Yeah, my father-in-law gave it to me. He wanted a stemmed glass, much like this one, and he traded me for one of his Stella glasses because he's a lager drinker and I'm not really. But first time it's ever going to have Stella in it. So, yeah. Anyway, we are going to go in alphabetical order just to show no bias at all. And we're going to start by opening the Moretti. We're going to have a quick look at it. That's the artwork on the bottle. And it says on the back that it's alcohol-free beer with natural flavouring. You've got your ingredients listed as water, barley malt, hop extract and natural flavouring. Quite what that is, I don't know. It's imported from Italy. I picked this up in Tesco's. I think it was about £3.50 for 3 bottles. And the Stella I actually picked up in Morrison's, 4 bottles for £3.50. And it says on the back here, really not a lot. Alcohol-free, alcohol content is listed as 0.0% ABV. You've got 60 calories in the bottle. You've got 75% recycled green glass. And your ingredients are water, malted barley, hops, sugar and natural flavours. And yeah, it's brewed in Belgium for those who want to know. So we are going to start by opening the Moretti and pouring into the vocation glass. I don't have any Moretti glassware and I probably never will. But the pour on the Moretti is exactly what I'd expect. A crisp, clean looking lager. It's actually got some colour to it, which is nice. We've got a golden coloured crystal clear beer. We've got about 2 fingers of white head that is not overly tight and compact, but it's nevertheless looking good. You've got a nice lot of carbonation coming out from the nucleated bottom glass. So yeah, that actually looks good as lagers go. So now this one has actually got a paper seal covering the crown, which is interesting. But anyway, we're going to just pull that down a bit. And then we're going to get into the bottle. And we're going to pour into the Stella glass. And the pour, hopefully, looks as good. These are 330ml bottles, by the way. And this glass clearly isn't filled and nor is it 100% clean, but again it looks similar. It's a little bit lighter in colour, I'd say. We've got about 1.5 fingers of white head, so let's compare the two side by side. Just get into yeah, you know, so similar in colour, similar heads. They look about the same to me. Yeah, they look alright. Very little to tell between the two. So let's go in for the aromas on the Stella first. Clean, light, sweet, slightly grassy. Exactly what I'd expect from a lager, really. The Moretti is ever so slightly different. It's a little bit soapy. No, I'll take that back. It's just a lot lighter in aroma. So yeah, the The Stella actually smells better. Anyway, so let's go for a taste or a sniff. Yeah, so a taste on the Moretti. Cheers. It's very light in every way. There's a hint of beer flavour. It's really a subtle hint. And it's just like sweet malt on the end. It's got that typical alcohol-free malt profile. I'm not sure what the natural flavours are, but they're not really coming through. Super light, super clean tasting, but very sweet malt. And the Stella, notice the head has not stuck around very well on the Stella. Anyway, let's have a taste. That's surprisingly good. It actually tastes like lager. It's got that grassiness to it that you get from regular lager. It's got good body, as lager goes. It's got the hops. It's got the malt. It's not as sweet as the Moretti. It's really quite nice. Yeah. So we're going to go for the finish tasting, or to get a good idea of the finish on the Moretti. It's a sweet finish with not a lot to it. It really is quite one-dimensional, flat malt profile, and that's it. There's no real indication of hop at any level. You know, it's super light. It's a sweet malt finish. That's it. And the finish on the Stella. It's got what you expect. It's got that ever so slight yeastiness, that breadiness that an alcohol-free lager has got. But importantly, it's got that ethos of what makes a lager a lager. It's got the flavour on the taste and on the finish. I like. So, it's not an in-depth review of either at this point. We're going to do that now on the scoreboard. We've got Moretti, we've got the Stella, and then we've got the verses to see who wins. So, they both looked all right. You know, I mean, they're both crystal clear, as you'd expect a lager to be. You've got, like I say, the head hasn't stuck around very long, but they both looked exactly like I would expect a lager to look. Clean, crisp, and fresh looking. They both get a point for that. I can't really knock them too much at all. Aromas, though, are where we get the first big difference. The Moretti was stupidly light on the aroma to the point where I could barely get anything. I mean, even now, I'm getting a sweet wort type aroma, but even that's faint. There's none of that grassiness. There's none of those kind of sort of green hops that come through. There's no sense of crispiness. It really has got zippity-doo-dah. It doesn't get a point for me. It gets at most. Let's be brutal and be brutally honest. It gets a 0 for the aroma on the Moretti because it's void of anything. The Stella, on the other hand, it's got that grassiness. It's got that classic lager aroma. It might not be for you. Indeed, it's not an aroma that I particularly appreciate, but it's there. It's actually got it. And it's medium to strong. I mean, it's not going to punch you in the face like Mike Tyson strong or someone after 4 pints of the real McCoy, but it's got enough strength to let you know it's there, and it lets you know that it's a lager. And aroma generally leads to a good tasting experience. So I can't fault that for the aroma. It works. It's going to get a whole point. So we've got a draw on the the looks. We've got a win for the Stella on the aroma. The body, now, on the Moretti, it's light, but it's not thin. It's got light carbonation. It works. It's not perfect. I'd appreciate a little bit more body to it and a little bit more carbonation. It's unusual for me to say I want more carbonation in a beer. But that one I definitely do, just to give it that crisp lager-like thing. It gets some points. It gets a half from me on the Moretti. On the Stella, this one is much better. You've got the same kind of light body, ever so slightly heavier than the Moretti. It's a little bit smoother, but it's backed up by a better carbonation as well. Again, it's not perfect. It could just do with a little touch more carbonation, not a lot, but it just pips the Moretti into a point there. It gets 0.75, so that's another win for the Stella. The taste, ladies and gents, boys and girls, is where it really counts. And with the Moretti, it's just malt. It's sweet malt, very little in the way of hop. It's bland. It's void of anything that you would recognise as a good lager, or indeed a mediocre lager, let's be honest. That one is poor for me. I can't find it in myself to give it any points. It's a big fat 0 on the flavour for the Moretti. Now the Stella, again, it's got that thing that alcohol-free lagers have, that kind of classic template of that malt, and that kind of, and this is going to sound weird, I've said it before on others, I think it was the Heineken I said it, maybe even the Peroni, it's got that envelope glue type thing going on. It's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just what I can equate it to, and that people of a certain vintage, my age, I mean I'm 38, and older would definitely know what I mean. Nowadays it's all self-adhesive envelopes that you probably wouldn't want to lick anyway, or even stamps, you know, it's got that kind of thing, but that is backed up by hops and that grassiness that just works and identifies it as a good lager. Can I find fault in the flavour? Apart from that slight envelope glue thing, not really. So I'm going to knock a little bit off for that. I'm going to give it 3/4 of a point, which at this point in the proceedings means that it's an unrecoverable loss for the Moretti, because it's now 3 points to 0 on the front of the Stella. But we've got one more category left. Is it going to be a clean sweep or is it not? It's on the finish. So the Moretti, I say it follows sweet malt, not a lot else. Sugar, sweet malt, bland, boring, unpleasant, not one that I would want to repeat. It's got more on the finish than it has anywhere else though. It's kind of clean. It's refreshing. I'll give it that. It gets a 1/4 point at most, which is really not good. And the Stella, again, it's that green classic sort of lagered flavour. A hint of those green hops just sort of mellows through, and then you get a little bit of that malt. Again, it's not perfect, but it's infinitely better than the Moretti. I am going to give it, well, I say it's infinitely better. It's heads and shoulders above the Moretti. So we have a clean sweep for the verses in favour of the Stella Artois. But it's reassuringly inexpensive, actually. £3.50 for 4 bottles in your local Mozzers is actually not bad at all. I can't be complaining at that. But when we look at the total scores, we've got 1.75 for the Moretti, and 1, 2, 3.5, 4.25 for the Stella. I never thought I'd see that. You know, that's the scoreboard of joy right there. It does not lie. Never in a million years would I ever have thought that I would have given Stella of any kind that kind of score. So we're going to go back to the Age Memoir now and give you an idea. So without revealing the scores at this point, the Stella did win on the Untapped score overall. Excuse me. The Moretti got 2.39. The Stella slightly more at 2.65 as an average. So mine, like I say, 1.75 for the Moretti, which is quite unexpected, and 4.25 for the Stella. I'm actually quite impressed with the Stella, to be honest, ladies and gents. I did not expect it to be as good as it was. But there you go. Sometimes on this journey of finding some of the better alcohol-free beers, you get a little bit of a surprise. Some of those that you expect are going to be good are actually bad. And those that you expect to be poor actually come out and do really well for themselves. So, ladies and gents, boys and girls, we're at the point in the video where I'm going to say, these have been the beers. Down there are some buttons. You know exactly what to do with them by now. You got the like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. Let me know in the comments section below what you think of these beers. If you've tried them, let me know. And yeah, I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of these beers. Well, one more than the other. And I will catch you again soon for another video. Bye.